First of all, thank everybody for coming. I want to say thank you as well for understanding about this meeting, this opportunity with the media. This week, we wanted to make sure that Coach priorities right now in regards to recruiting were first and foremost for our team. So I know many of us talked about trying to have one early in the week, but we wanted to stay focused with recruiting. It was the #1 focus for us right now. So thank you guys for making the effort with that. In regards to today, we're here to talk about football. So if there's any other questions that want to be discussed, we'll talk those offline after this. We'll discuss any of those questions that you may have. And this is a little bit different, as you can see. We're doing something a little bit different. We didn't want to stand behind a podium. Coach and I, when we met last week, one of the things we want to make this more personal. We want everyone to understand that we're taking a different approach to how we're doing things. And this is the first start. This is about having an opportunity for you guys to ask some questions, but us as well to let you know kind of where we're going with this. The commitment that we're making for this department, for this football program, is going to be one that we're together with. We're moving forward, and there's a lot of things that are going to need to be done between coaching as well as administration. So we also want to thank our fan base. It's very important right now for us to continue to acknowledge them for their passion, their commitment, and most of all for their support. This has been, I know there's been some challenging times, not just with football, but our program as a whole, and our athletic department, and we just, again, want to continue to say thank you to them. Overall, though, I just want to kind of give a little brief overview of how last week was, our meeting with Coach. As many of you, I had some opportunities to meet with some of you prior to this, and I told you we were going to have an opportunity to sit down, Coach and myself, and evaluate everything. He had some opportunities to meet with his student athletes prior to he and I sitting down. So what it was about really was an opportunity for he and I to talk about X's and O's, talk about coaching staff, changes, opportunities, what was going to happen overall, and what his thoughts were on the program moving forward. But also the commitment that we have to do as an athletic department through and through. We wanted to make sure that I understood what his expectations were. I also wanted him to understand what our expectations were, because the reality is we have to make a commitment to this program. And that is something that has already started, we're going to continue to move forward with, and so you'll hear more about that. One of the focuses is going to be that we're putting a committee together. It's going to have some community involvement, it's going to have staff, coaches, students that are going to be involved to help look at the grand scheme of everything associated with football, from parking, traffic, public relations, media, community engagement, which is a big focus for us. It's going to be a big focus for us. It's going to be the community engagement part. But all those different aspects are extremely critical for us as a department, as a staff, as a coaching, as a football program to move forward. So those are some of the ideas. But the one thing that is evident, and I just want you guys to know here, the one thing that was evident is when I sat down with Coach, I knew his commitment and his passion for wanting to do what he's been able to establish here and trying to continue this and make sure that he has a program that together we can make our Lobo fans proud of. So with that, I want Coach to be able to hit on a couple topics, and then we'll answer some questions at the end.
Yeah, just sitting here looking at you guys. Most of you guys have been on this journey since I came to Albuquerque. Most of you are probably up here when I did that introductory press conference 7 years ago. We've got a few new faces. So we've all seen this through different lenses, right? I saw it before I came to UNM when I was after the job through the lens of what the perception of UNM and what UNM football was perceived to be. There's been 4 different presidents since I've been at UNM. There's been 3 different athletic directors. I've seen a lot of things. But one thing that has been consistent, and I said this 7 years ago, and I've really said it since, is I'm very, very appreciative. I was very appreciative 7 years ago to get this job. Having been out of coaching for 10 years, doing the ESPN thing, I was very, very appreciative. And we were able to build it. It took us 5 years. You guys were up and down that yo-yo with us. There were some good times, there were some bad times, but we were able to get this thing back on its feet and really change the perception of Lobo football. I think back to playing UTSA in the bowl game, and USA Today, big article on Lobo football. I think think the Wall Street Journal, actually. I think New York Times. I think across this country, most people, at least in the coaching profession, would have seen this as good of a rebuilding job as there was. So we felt we had some traction. We felt we had some momentum. But most of all, I was appreciative. I was appreciative to have the opportunity. And then it was 3-9, 3-9. So I look through it now. If I'm Eddie Nunez coming in, and what Eddie has seen through his lens has been 3-9, 3-9. Not only that, but he came in a time where there were some, the investigation, the suspension, all the other things. So again, I sit here 7 years later being very appreciative to have this opportunity. And I've been in this long enough to know 3-9, 3-9, if they really want to buy you out, they're going to buy you out somehow. And in the same token, I've looked at it like, am I fully committed and am I fully energized, and is it personal enough to me? Do I have enough of a chip on my shoulder to take this and get this back to where we had it? A lot of times coaches will sit and say, yeah, I feel good. Yeah, I feel energized. Yeah, I'm hungry to do this. I want to get my reputation back, get the program back. It's more than that to me. It's not about me. If I didn't think that I was the best person to do this, I wouldn't do it. If I didn't think I could do it, and that I was best for UNM and best for this football program, I wouldn't do it. It's not about money with me. It's not about ego. It's about the same reason I came here was to make a difference, And I feel that same exact way again after 3-9, 3-9. And I've talked a little bit about lenses here. I think it's time, and I can't speak for anyone else. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell the fans what to do. I can't necessarily tell our players what to do. I can tell them what to do, but they're going to do what they feel is in their heart to do. I think it's time we all look through the same lens now of moving forward. 2 bowl games back to back, 3-9, 3-9. I don't know that any of it matters right now. It's about moving forward. It's about moving forward, and it's important to me. It's important to me. A lot of people don't realize. My daughter was married. My son-in-law is our director of football operations. My grandson, Bo, was born right here. My son, Clay, came with me from Arizona State 7 years ago when I first walked into this building. Started out as a graduate assistant. He got his master's from me. His wife teaches here at UNM. We're fully invested. And one thing I will say, I don't say just I, we have done everything with our abilities, with our time commitment, with our energies to try to build this football program from internally to externally, because just trying to make a first down, just trying to get the academic thing right. All the other things that go on, we have done it internally first. If I need to do more externally, I'll absolutely do more externally. I felt like you guys know me. You guys have been around. Hopefully you see how I do things. So I don't want this illusion, because it is just an illusion, that I'm not fully committed to this. My whole family lives here. I've been in this office every minute that it's possible to be in this office. I've worked harder than I worked at Notre Dame, if the truth be told. So I don't want some illusion that this is kind of a easy come, easy go to me. I put my 7 years of my life into this thing. And there are challenges here. There are challenges here, and all of you know it. Every one of you know it. And I can't be the hypocritical guy or the mindless guy that just says, hey, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great. You don't get things changed. You can't get things done like that if you pretend to be that. I've been more the one that tries to be brutally honest. That's the way I've raised my children. That's why I've been married 40 years. I have a hard time sitting back and just kind of faking things. With that said, though, if I didn't think this was the place I absolutely wanted to be as I kind of close out my career, whatever that is. You saw Mack Brown just got hired at 67 years. So don't keep your fingers crossed that I'm not going to be here a long time, if some of you guys. But the point is, it's time now. It's time to move forward. We got to get the people that are on the fence. We got to get the people that are out there that maybe football's been demonized a little bit because of some of the dynamics that have happened. I mean, there's some unbelievable things. You take Eddie coming in here 2 years, some of the unbelievable dynamics that he's seen and we've gone through as a department and as a head football coach. It's time now to move forward now. It is time to go. And I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can because each one of you guys know it is an underdog mentality here. It's an underdog mentality. And that's what I've come to love about this. I've come to love this place through all the lenses that I've seen it through. And my passion is in doing this and getting this thing as good as it can be, whatever that can be. So I know I went a long time.
Well, that's perfect.
I kind of bounced around. I didn't have anything prepared. So go ahead, Eddie.
No, that's perfect. I mean, we'll open it up for some questions.
Eddie, I guess the first thing is when you guys sat down and talked about you coming back, what was the thing that made you think, like, was it because Bob just said how he's committed to this? What sold you on it to where, because people were screaming about, oh, like, he's, you know, like 3-9, 3-9, just like what you said.
Yeah.
But what was the thing that got you to say, hey, you know, like, let's give this guy another chance, or was it because other people think it's financially too, because of the buyout and all those things like that?
Well, first and foremost, I know our financial situation better than anyone because I live it every day, and that needs to be understood. But the fact is, I've had an opportunity this year. It's really my first true year to be able to watch the program from start to finish, and had an opportunity to get to know the ins and outs of the program, see the individuals, not just traveling, seeing everything that surrounds this program. So it gave me an opportunity to really go in here with an understanding better than last year on just what this program's about. It's not just about the wins and losses that you see on the field. There's a lot more to it. So having an opportunity to sit down with Coach and have, again, very open conversations, when ultimately at the end of the day, when we got through the conversation and hearing his passion and what he wants to do and how he wants to continue to get this program moving in the direction that we're hoping to put it, that excited me because at the end of the day, it's my decision and I have to make what's the best decision for this program. But I wanted to know that I'm going to have a coach alongside each other. We're going to get this done right.
Okay. Coach, you got here and you turned UNM into this unique thing with the triple option, and it worked really well up until the last couple of years. Is there I asked you this after the last game, but is there a possibility that maybe we'll see a return to that because that was the formula that works?
Well, you know the percentages of what we wanted to do this year of a higher, a 30% of what we had done. And that would still be the aiming point for us on offense, to be 70-30, which I think can be a pretty dynamic scheme. But you're right. I mean, we totally turned this thing around if you just look on the playing field, not all the things that go on the foundation of it. It came down to being unique on offense. I mean, let's be honest, that's what it was. Maybe we have to be that unique on defense now. We were here 7 years, 6 years, people got used to us. I've talked at length about why we even changed it or tweaked it. That was the right decision. That was the right decision. So I do think we're headed in the right direction offensively, even though it looked as bleak as it's ever looked, ever against Wyoming in that last game. I get that. I do think we have to continue to be unique, and I think defensively we need to, you know, we got it to 9 wins. I felt through recruiting, through momentum, we could continue on a path. Not that we didn't blitz. We blitzed a lot here. We may have to be even more outside the box now that I've seen. That didn't change things a whole lot.
With that said, do you plan on keeping Kevin Cosgrove around?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our staff hopefully will be intact. You know, in the last press conference, we talked about that. You guys know what.
Right.
Just get that USA Today article on what assistant coaches are being paid around this country. You know, there's a lot of things that go into that. But I like our staff. I like our staff. And we are aligned as a staff. But anytime you go 3-9, 3-9, there's a lot of soul searching and there's a lot of brutally honest conversations. We have to be better. We have to be better. 3-9 is not acceptable.
What specific changes do you think need to be made?
On the field, I think first of all, before we even get on the field, recruit. You know, if you had a chance to be on the sidelines, just take the Wyoming game. The size and the strength is a combination. We're never going to be real big here. We're not going to be the biggest. I think we need to tweak our scheme a little bit defensively because the reality is we are not going to be as big as a Wyoming is. So the first thing is recruiting. And then a reboot. We need a reboot. And I met with our players Monday morning before I left. I met with our defense this morning before I came up here. We need a reboot from A to Z. It is. We need a reboot. And
Almost like you're starting over.
well, I think so. I think so, and I think that is needed right now, particularly on defense.
Bob,
So it's recruiting, it's development of players. I mentioned before, we do need to feed our players. That is one thing, absolutely, that, and Eddie and I talked about this. You know, we played Air Force the 10th game of the year this year. Normally we played Air Force the 4th or 5th game. They've been handed the ball to the fullback for a lot of years in that offense. It looked different this year because by the 10th game, for a lot of reasons, but one reason, we do have to develop our players, because if you're not going to get the bluest of blue chip, you better develop them better. I mean, that is the reality of this.
Eddie,
I'm sorry.
we're just going down the line? Okay.
No, I didn't know. I didn't think you had a question before.
Well, Bob, what the recruiting challenges that are there for you? How do you and your staff deal with that? To try to level the playing field as much.
That's what we've done for 7 years. Nobody works harder at recruiting than we do. Nobody works harder. There are a lot of challenges with that. You work your tail off and you try to build relationships. So sometimes when the statistics of different things are put in front of a student athlete and a family, you can, even though there it isn't right, because of your relationships, they feel so strongly about you that they are willing to come to the University of Mexico. If we want brutal honesty, it's about relationships. Because if it does come down to statistics, as we all know, we don't have a lot to sell in a lot of areas. And we have to be proactive on that. We have to be proactive because it's coming. Every young man we recruit is going to get the same printout on some statistics that none of us are proud of. So we have to build relationships. We have to be proactive. That's the reality. That's the reality. And to be honest, that's why we go to different places. We go to different places because we have to go find, we have to have a bigger pool of guys, and we have to evaluate a bigger pool. But that point is coming at some point where here's the printout. deal with this. And that's in any sport here.
That's all sports. I mean, I think across the board, the one thing is we recognize that there's challenges. And there's a lot of factors that attribute to those challenges from the recruiting side. We, as an institution, have to continue to do a better job in putting our best foot forward. And I think that's in every sport. And we got to find our niche, and we do. We have some great things happening here. And we have to make sure that those messages, that those wonderful things we do, that we're building on, new leadership with the university, innovation, collaborations with the campus. Now's the time. Those that are interested in being a part of UNM as students, student athletes, there's a lot of great things happening here. And that's the message they have to hear, is all those things that are in front of us right now that are positives. There's going to be a lot of people pushing everything else against us. We know that from the recruiting side. That's part of the world of recruiting. But we as an institution, as a media, everybody has to try to help this process out. And that is us giving you that content so we can help this situation happen. So yeah, I agree.
I was going to ask you about, when you talked about having a committee and stuff like that, is it to try to get people to realize that football drives the bus? Because when you talk, there's a lot of ignorance out there. Like even when the cuts came with the soccer program, I had a guy call me and he was all mad saying, they should cut football. I said, well, basically you're telling me just to kill all athletics because football drives the bus. And I couldn't convince him, and you know, it's like talking to a fool. So
the committee is going to be for multiple reasons. Okay. And it's going to be looking at, as I said, it looks at the PR, the media, the marketing, the promotion side of it. All those things that we can control. How do we make this football game a part of some kind of activity, some kind of event? I mean, do we do other things associated outside the stadium that bring individuals to the stadium and we work together with the community to have these great partnerships? That is part of this. The other side of it is continuing that messaging. What is the messaging that we're trying to get out there to our people? Part of it is, yes, we do have to put butts in the seats. That's important. That's important for our department as a whole. You know, there's no other venue that I could get 20,000 people, even on a bad day here. You know, that's, if we can get it going and we get people to understand it's about the greater picture, which is the student athletes, that's what we're centered around, then come out and support our student athletes. Come out and support these student athletes out here competing every day, and give back to this institution, because it's gonna pay dividends down the road for everybody. So it is about trying to send that message, but we're gonna do it in a bigger holistic picture, looking at everything from, again, any component that we can, from traffic to parking to tailgating. We want to make this an event. We want to make this an activity. Other factors that are attributing to this that we all know, we have, you know, late games in November traditionally have been a challenge here. Why? Because it's colder, there's other things. Friday night games are sometimes a challenge. Those are the things we have to listen. We have to hear our community influence and find out how can we overcome some of these issues that we've had in the past. So,
you know, because I think one thing too is we're talking is, you know, since I came here, it was, well, if you win, they'll come. If you win, they'll come. Well, I think in 15, we played Colorado State out here after beating Boise. I think that was 15. Could have won the conference championship. We had Colorado State in the stadium. I think there were 18,000 people there on a beautiful day. We won 9 games in 2016, right?
16. Yes.
And season tickets didn't go up notably. It does take a different niche here. And I felt like coming in, it was something and Eddie, I spoke about this. You know, I've been to Ole Miss to the, what do they call it, the Grove. But I've also been to Northwest Mississippi, and they create a different, I can go all over this country. We have to create our niche. It needs to be a party. We need to have a tailgate party. And maybe you run the risk a little bit that some of those people will only come to the party and then leave and not come in, but it's worth that risk. We need to make this a full-on hot air balloons in the parking lot, bands playing. We need to make this fun. We need to make this fun and show up. And hopefully we can get good enough. Or I'll go out there with a bullhorn and just say, come in the stadium now. It's time to go do work now. But to me, it is unique, but there's so much to sell. I mean, this is a beautiful setting here. Like this stadium in the fall with the kind of weather we have, I think it needs to be more of that, of the culture of New Mexico, the uniqueness of the culture of New Mexico, and just have a damn party out of it. We have some money to do that.
Yeah, we're going to figure it out. I'll tell you that.
And then
There's a lot
say,
of
listen,
partnerships we could have.
and then say, listen, by the way, at 4:10, they're going to kick off in here against Hawaii. Come on in here and watch this. I think we have to start somewhere. I really do. And this discussion's being done all over the country. If you look at the trend of attendance in college football, it's down. It's not down just here. It's down everywhere. Did you watch the Boise-Fresno State championship game? And I know it was snowing. That whole upper deck was empty. It's everywhere. And sometimes we always look for someone to blame here or something to blame and keep demonizing it. This is all over the country this is happening. There's games at Power 5 schools where there's a whole student sections are empty. This is something we have to, this isn't unique. This isn't, okay, they're not a very good team. Oh, New Mexico will never support football. Albuquerque, new UNM student body will never, this is all over the country this is happening. We have to put our heads together and wrap our arms around this and get people out. We got to get people out. You know, and that's not my area. We didn't do anything for marketing this year. We didn't even try to market, right? We didn't spend one penny on marketing this year. Let's be honest. We need to market. We need to sell it. And if it's me being from internal to external, I'll gladly do it. I'll gladly go from all my internal world of what I have to do here to I'll be more external. That's the reality of this. This is a challenge. But what a great opportunity. What a great opportunity again to overcome the odds. That's.
Bob, I had a question. This is really an important thing for you, what you're telling us, Ed. And have you sat down, had time to sit down with the players and know what you're saying to us right now? Have you had a chance to tell them what you're thinking about doing and how much you want to be here? And because there's so many rumors around town.
Well, let me tell you this. Our players, I spill my guts to our players every single day. There's nobody comes in this building and spills their guts and is more honest and more passionate than I am. So this whole thing, if you're telling me outside they're looking like you're not all in or you don't live here, let's stop all that right now. That's silly.
I agree.
That's so silly. That's ridiculous. But who's going to say that? It doesn't do me good to say that.
Yeah.
You guys are here every Tuesday. You sit in here every Tuesday. You've watched what we've done academically. We've put our guts into this for 7 years. Somebody else needs to stop that nonsense. I'm not reacting. Let's stop that. Bob Davey doesn't live here.
Yeah, I know.
My daughter. I brought my whole family here.
Hey, Coach,
You want to check my taxes? I mean, let's stop the demonization. Let's stop the illusion of somebody really wants it or really loves it. But it's just an illusion because they're the ones tearing it down. Yeah. Well, maybe the guy that's brutally honest and says it, maybe he's the one who really loves it. You know, you can create an illusion, but behind the scenes be demonizing and tearing things down. You may say you want it and say how much you love New Mexico, but you're tearing it down. Well, maybe there's the guy that's working his tail off, spending every minute of his day with everybody involved. He's not saying it, but he's the one who really does love it because he's trying to make it better. So, I mean, let's stop the nonsense, man. Let's come together and do it. If we're going to do this, let's do this.
Yeah, Coach, I had a recruiting question. Since the end of the season, what have conversations been like with guys either you had talked to before the season was over, or maybe new recruits, and what sorts of concerns have you heard from them with the way the season ended?
I don't think it changes a whole lot. You know, I don't think it changes that much, honestly. I think they look at New Mexico as a place for an opportunity to make change and make it better. There hadn't been a whole lot of 3-9 conversation. Now, there's been a little bit of, Coach, how long are you going to do this conversation? Probably more conversation on you're #1 in the country and stolen cars on your campus, if I'm honest, more than talking about 3-9. that's the reality of a lot of the issues. So it hasn't been 3-9 much. It's been positive.
How long do you want to do this?
I want to win. I want to win. That's what I want to do. If
You
we can get it back to winning, I'll do this a long time. I want to win. We put so much into this. I want to make people proud of what we do. I want to win. I want to win as crazy as it sounds for you guys. You know, I feel bad like after the game when I'm doing Dontrell Moore's interview and we hadn't won today. You know, I want everybody, I want us all to win, you know, and that's what it is. So you ask me how long. If we can win, I'll do it a long time. I'll do it a long time if we can win.
Did it energize you, like the quirkiness of this place? You've had your taste of it now. You've had the full run of it. Now you said you need a reboot. With that in mind, knowing that you know how quirky it is, do you have more energy this time to kind of know what to expect?
Let's be certain you're the one calling it quirky here, not us.
Yeah. I'm calling it that. It is. It's different. It's unique.
We're not.
Yeah. And you know, it is unique. I don't think if Bob Davie does say it's quirky. I think I said that in my first press conference why I wanted to come here, because I liked it because it's different.
Yeah.
I did. That's not a bad thing. Why would that be all of a sudden a bad thing? Because we went 3-9 this year?
Right.
But when I went 9-4, if I called it quirky, it was a good thing.
Yeah.
It is quirky. That's why people love New Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I like about it. It's the Southwest. This isn't Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's why my bud lives here. That's why my family's here. That's why all my children are here. That's a good thing.
Right.
That's not a bad thing. You know, so I'm no more energized, honestly, than I was going into last year. I mean, I'm energized every second. I'm putting my name on this thing. I'm putting my heart into this thing. Now, did we go through a period there where we got back on our heels? Absolutely, for the last 2 years. There's a lot of things going on that no athletic director maybe has been through before, or no head coach has gone through. I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong, who caused it, who this. These last 2 years now, in the big picture of University of New Mexico athletics, there's going to be an asterisk by this. But now it's time to move forward and go. Let's go. Let's go.
Did you? Maybe the other thing I wanted to ask you behind that was, were you surprised when Epting and Hayes opted out? Because I know they came here together, kind of. So.
No, those conversations go on every day, all through the season. Not surprised at all. You know, look around college football right now.
No, I know.
Look around college.
Any other players transferring?
You probably know before I would.
Kind of piggybacking off that, you said, you know, in your final press conference, final game of the year, that, you know, it's a beaten down team, 2-3-9 seasons, a couple players transferring out. What is your message to your team? You know, beaten down team that you set down.
We got to get it back. It's unacceptable. We have to get it back, and that's part of what the fun of this is. You know, I'll give you Jimmy Johnson, who I was Jimmy Johnson, Dallas Cowboys. I was a graduate assistant for the University of Pittsburgh. Talk about an unbelievable start to coaching, but he said when he took the Miami Dolphin job, I think it was, they said, "Did you get back in it because the thrill of victory is so good, so good?" He said, "No, I actually got back in it because you feel so bad when you lose, and then win. That's what makes all this worthwhile." You know, the thrill of victory is an unbelievable thing, but the thrill of victory is unbelievable when you come off 3-9 and 3-9. So that's what it is for our football team. You know, you've seen the difference of what that locker room feels like when you've won compared to how you've lost. And that taste, just that right there, is re-energizing. And that's why I said it is personal. And it is a chip on the shoulder. And all that stuff is a good thing. I don't want to leave this thing like this. Now, I know what the challenge is to get this thing back, too. It's easy to sit here and talk about. It is a challenge. And this needs to be a joint responsibility to a degree. We need a joint responsibility to get this thing where we can get it to.
Coach, you said in the past that it's your job to coach the team, but you just notched how important fans are Short of grabbing the bullhorn, like you said, what are some things that you and your team is focused on doing to engage the community and get those tweeters out there?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I've never been the one to, you know, put the kid out there and make it real visible, you know, whether it's community service. I've never been the one taking a selfie everywhere with this behind me. You know, I do have a hard time with that. I like to build it internally, and then externally people see it and appreciate it. If I do need to go out and speak more, I've never turned a speaking engagement down here. If I need to be on the radio, I mean, I do it every week. If I need to do more press conferences, if you guys want to come up here more, I'll go speak to the student body. Whatever I need to do, someone just needs to give me, and we've talked about this, some direction to do it. If we do turn this into a party and you want me at 7:35 before an 8 o'clock game to ride by up on the top of something with a bullhorn and say, now get your butt in the stadium, let's do it. You know, I'm all about how can we make UNM football, which is going to better UNM athletics, better. And if you haven't seen that externally enough, just tell me where to go say it, and I'll go say it, and I'll go show it.
You know, Coach, you're at the age where you could just walk away, be a husband, be a father, grandfather. Yeah. Did you ever have a point where you thought, you know what, let's just call it a day and go golfing?
I've had a couple first halves. You know, we've had a couple things now. When I'm thinking about walking in there at halftime when it's 51-5 or something at Utah State, I got to be honest, I thought about just kind of, okay, guys, I'll see you in the locker room. And just head to Salt Lake City Airport and like say, I'll see you guys later, man. I mean, let's be honest. There's been some unbelievable things. I mean, we all go through, is this worth it, right? I mean, we all go through that because, you know, I'm going to live a pretty good lifestyle. I was living a pretty good lifestyle before I came here. It isn't about that. It's a passion for all of this. This place where they say you can't do it. There's a passion to do that. There's a passion where college football in New Mexico, there's not enough real interest. All that makes me passionate. That's why I took the job 7 years ago, because a lot of people said, why would you do it? I mean, I am stubborn to that degree. You know, but it's not, again, just about me. If I didn't think I could be better for the players and better for the community, I would walk away. You know, I'm not greedy in that, okay, I got to do this just for me. My ego isn't such that I have to have that. It's about all of us collectively doing it here. You know, I mean, it really is. I mean, can we do this? Can we go do this? I mean, that's the challenge.
Because you continue to have kind of a bad start because our quarterbacks keep getting hurt. I mean, so that probably has a lot to do with what kind of offense can you run, because we lose our quarterbacks all the time.
Yeah, we've had, you know, we could talk about 3 and 9 and go through the lens of, well, your third quarterback played the whole year and you lost Alex Hart, and then we had the crazy thing with Evan Tohe and Trent Sellers went down. I get that nobody cares about that. And there's no reason for me to bring all those things up. We've had some misfortune too. You know, we've had a couple of years here where things haven't gone as well as they could go. But that's what this is. Nobody cares, right? None of you guys are sitting here saying right now they were 3 and 9 because of this, or nobody cares about that. I get that, and that's why I'm appreciative again that I'm still here. I get it. You know, I get what this is. But yeah, we have to solidify the quarterback position. Can Tavaka Toyota come back and be what his ability looks like it can be? If he is, he can be really good. Can we get good enough throwing the ball and proficient enough throwing the ball with another year in it? Do we have the explosive tailback we've had? We got all the offensive linemen back, basically, except for Aaron Jenkins. Those are why internally I've spent every second of my 7 years doing that. That's the challenge for me. And you got to be careful as a coach. Eddie and I've talked about this. Coach your team. Coach your team. And I've tried to just coach my team and internally focus on what we can do better. I hadn't played the politics. I haven't gone out and done the agenda and tried to put myself in this light. I got enough things every minute of my day to do here. You understand that? I mean, that's the biggest point of all this to me is, you know, so your personality is what your personality is. My personality can be successful. You know, it's getting this football team back on track and all those things you talk about, because that is a challenge.
Coach, you feel good about making a pretty big jump with the offense because of how Utah State started out. You know, like you kind of touched on it towards the end of the season.
I hope. You know, it's easy to sit here and say, yeah, I expect this big jump. I didn't expect to go to 3-9 this year. I said before the season, I thought our personnel on defense gave us a chance to have one of the better defenses we've had around here. I'm not taking any single thing for granted. We have Sam Houston State coming here the first game. Last time they came in here, they beat New Mexico. We go to Liberty, right? Liberty's good. I told you guys Liberty was good. We got New Mexico State coming in here that found a quarterback. By the way, we go to South Bend the second game. I want to try to make everybody feel better by saying that, and hopefully everybody buys tickets. I'm telling everybody to buy tickets to come help us feel better in that stadium. We need everything. But, yeah, hopefully, I think we'll be better on offense. But that Wyoming game set me back a little. That was like, whoa. But we were beaten down.
Bob, how would you describe the support you received from administration throughout your time at New Mexico?
I think really good. I think really good because, again, because I'm older, I look at all the different dynamics and I try to put myself in that seat as if I was in that seat. I get all the things going on if you just take from the president's level, all the different things going on this campus and all the things going on in athletics. And I put myself in Eddie's seat. That's why I said 2 years ago, Eddie coming in here. And I was going through something with the off-the-field thing. And, you know, what's he going to do? He just came in here. Is he going to jump up and just absolutely support me and coming out and make strong statements? I wouldn't have done that either at that time. I get it. I get it. Overall, for what New Mexico is, all the issues going on here, from a support standpoint, I feel good. I feel pretty good about it. Now, do we need more? I mean, all you got to do is look at the budgets and compare budgets, and you got to be in my world where I talk to different coaches about what they're doing. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I wouldn't have stayed if I didn't understand that there may not be more coming. I understand the uniqueness of this situation right now. So, Eddie, you may, you know.
No, he's right. You know, it's on, you know, the reality is the budget is what it is right now. And that was one of the conversation, truth, you know, put on the table that, Coach, this is what we have in front of us. You know, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe some opportunities present themselves through donations, through just overall institutional support or state support. All that is to be told. But the one thing that the conversation that we had to have is understand that where we are right now is the reality is we're probably going to be next year financially. And so we have to have an understanding if we can do this with those parameters. I wanted him to tell me, can he feel that same excitement? And he did. And that excites me because it is a challenge. I've said it, you guys have heard me say this. I mean, our budget is a challenge when we look and compare ourselves to other schools in our conference. This isn't just football, this is all sports. And so I have a huge task ahead of me to try to build that budget up and trying to give our student athletes, our coaches, that same competitive level, challenge, and opportunities that everyone else has. So that's on me to do what I can do. That is on us as a community to try to show the support to our coach so we can generate some additional revenue through ticket sales, through donations. So it's something that I'm going to continue to push. Hopefully we have an opportunity to increase that funding level. But I appreciate his understanding because, again, understanding the totality of the whole thing of when it comes to this program not just football, our whole department as a whole.
Are you expecting to change the budget projections for football tickets?
We're waiting to get all that. We're in the process, as we said before. At the January meeting, we'll be able to present all our ticket revenues at that point. We will adjust some things if necessary. Yeah, they weren't where we expected them to be, and I've said that publicly. It's unfortunate, but those are things that we will adjust. And we also have to understand, when you talk tickets, you know, you're not just looking at football tickets. At the end of the day, you're looking at all tickets from all sports and everything else that's coming in. So basketballs are going up or down, you know, other sports, baseball, softball, all that gets into this equation. Yes, football will be adjusted a little bit, but you also have to understand other things are going to help that or potentially change it too. So.
And you know, to be honest, that's been a, you know, as a coach, again, why internally I've tried to do things the right way. There's always the temptation as a coach to get on top of the highest mountain and scream from the highest mountain, here's what they're spending on this. Here's what they're doing with their student athletes. Here's what, and to come out and show all those statistics and say, where's my support? Look what I'm doing. I've chosen never to do that. And you guys know, there's a way to get that done without you doing it. I could spend a certain percentage of my time every day on getting that message out there, okay? Getting that message out there, trying to make people appreciative of the football coach because he's doing more with less. I've chosen not to do that. I don't want our team to look at that way. I don't want to be that guy where I'm always doing that, you know, and you know, I would hope people would understand that. I get in your world, you may not understand that. I get it completely. I know exactly where we are on the food chain, so to speak, of what we spend for this and what we spend for that. And sometimes there is a little bit of a cosmetic thing that it looks pretty good, whether if you look at the stadium, or you look at the weight room now, or you look at the offices, and you look at the practice field, or you look at the indoor, and you say, you know what, these guys got it really good. I could come back and show you statistics of things that are really, really important where maybe we don't have it really good. But rather to spend all my time on that, I don't know that anybody benefits from that. But you would like people to understand the big picture that this is what we're dealing with here. And I'm not saying be appreciative, but at least understand the uniqueness of what we're trying to do. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. I'm not going to go up on the highest mountain and say, I'm not going to do that. Now, there's other guys that get that message out there without getting up on that mountain. They have somebody else do it, or they spend all their time. I've never said one thing off the record to one of you guys, have I? Have I ever done that? Okay. Now, is that right or wrong? I don't know. My world has been, if I'm going to say it, I'm going to say it publicly where everybody hears it. I'm not going to say, hey, I want you to say this so it doesn't come back on me. I've never operated that way. You know, so I could do a lot of off the record stuff. I don't.
We are at 51 minutes. This has
Really
gone on
appreciate
for a
it.
long
Maybe
time.
that should be the name of your book.
I do know it's a recruiting weekend.
But I appreciate it, and I know Eddie does. You know, you guys, you know, sometimes it would surprise me that we have the need to do this and just get it out there, because I take for granted sometimes that people get the real message and get the real challenge that we're facing every day and how much we have invested in this. And again, I'm going to say this to Eddie, 3-9 is 3-9. And I'm appreciative to have this opportunity to continue to build this. And I mean that sincerely. And I mean that to our fans. 3-9 is tough, man. We need anybody out there that's on the fence, anybody that's thinking about not, we do need a joint effort here. We do need a joint effort. Okay, guys. Eddie?
Thank you guys, Coach Murphy. Thank you very much. Thank you guys.
Good.
Yep.